Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. It is almost Halloween, so we are going to do some Am I the Asshole Halloween Couples Edition. Are you ready? As usual, I have not read these before. I'm essentially blind reacting to these. I'm a queer couples counselor. I am reacting to these from that perspective and the perspective of being, a queer human. These are not all queer couples. Is it appropriate to attend a queer Halloween party as a straight couple? My close friend, who is a trans woman, has invited me and my boyfriend to attend a queer Halloween club night at the end of this month with her and her partner and their friends. However, on the website, it states, we ask all cisgender men and all straight cisgender women to consider that this is not an event for them and to not attend. Would it be inappropriate for us to attend with my friend, and would it be best for us to politely decline and go somewhere else? I am a cis pansexual woman, but my boyfriend is cis and straight, and obviously we just look like a straight couple. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or like we're encroaching on their space and buying out tickets intended for queer people. Any advice is much appreciated. So I'll just listen under Am I the Asshole? It's sort of a would I be the asshole? It's a fair question to ask. For sure. The idea that queer spaces become then safe spaces for, say, straight women. This whole straight women going to gay bars because they feel safer, or straight people coming into gay spaces in general. It's been sort of a hot button issue for a couple of years now for a lot of different reasons. This is slightly different because, well, the person asking the question is a member of the queer community and has been invited by a member of the queer community. So the only person really in question here is the boyfriend. And it leads directly into this assumption of a straight presenting relationship being something that people will look at and say, oh, well, why are you here? Potentially. Would you be the asshole if you went? No, because you are not a straight person. You are not a straight cisgender woman, which is who they ask to kindly think about not attending. And an option here, if you're not sure what to do, would be to go back to your friend who invited you and to say, hey, I was on the website. This is what it said. Can we talk this through? I don't know what to do about bringing my boyfriend, because the context matters about that space being a safe place for the people who are going. If it is a queer only space, then your boyfriend doesn't go because he's not queer. But your friend being the one that invited you might have background knowledge, might have other information. Is your boyfriend somebody who's going to respect the boundaries of that being a safe space for queer people? There's so many variables there that it's kind of hard to answer without obviously knowing the couple, but those are conversations that need to be had. If you're in a situation where your boyfriend doesn't acknowledge your pansexuality, doesn't acknowledge the fact that you are a member of the queer community, that sort of thing, then that's a different conversation than
I am proudly the boyfriend of a pansexual woman.
We have a different conversation, right? The interesting thing to me were some of the comments on that. One person said that they would never go anywhere their boyfriend wasn't allowed. They would never attend anything that polices people's sexuality. There were some really interesting comments on that, very, in reality, kind of tone deaf when you think about the number of spaces that are not safe for people who are trans, people who are queer, in general, couples just to be able to be themselves. Being offended by people who are in a minority status, asking for a space to remain safe for people who are in a minority status is a fairly offensive thing. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend he shouldn't take his girl best friend for a couple's costume on Halloween? Okay. My boyfriend and I have been together for 8 months. He is very kind to me and has never raised his voice or lost his temper with me. Is this the measure that we're using? That's necessary to put out there in the beginning of this in order? I'm scared of where this is going. Okay. I was introduced to his friends very early in our relationship, and I get along with them just fine. He and his friends have been friends from nursery days, and they are all very nice to me. He has a friend, Vivian, fake name, who along with his 2 other friends plan for Halloween every year, a few months in advance. I have never doubted any foul play about them, and I have never wanted to be the jealous new girlfriend who ruins friendships. The problem is that my boyfriend works in a firm where they apparently throw Halloween parties. He goes with one of his friends every year, and this year was Vivian's turn to go with him because last year he went with his friend Tom. Plus, he and Viv have a thing about scary costumes and horror, and they share the same love for Halloween. The thing is, I love Halloween too. My boyfriend knows that, and we share that common interest. Granted, I can't just claim a common interest, but he didn't even ask me once if I wanted to go with him since he and Viv started planning 2 months ago. We were dating then, and he never mentioned it to me. It's just that I thought that he could have at least asked me. He mentioned to me 2 days ago that he and Viv had their couple's Halloween costume ready and if I wanted to see them. I did not feel as positive about it as I should have, and I guess it showed in my face because he asked what was wrong, and I asked him why he never even asked me to go with him once. He didn't get mad, but said that he wouldn't change his ritual with his friends for his relationship. He told me about it early on, as he told me before. I was hurt, and I told him that's a hurtful thing to say, and he didn't respond. He's been giving me the silent treatment. I've never expected him to dump his plans with his friends for me. I don't mind when he does escape rooms with Viv or always has hiking plans with Tom and others. The only reason I thought that he would have asked me is because I love Halloween too and thought it was a common interest. But now I feel like I have stepped over the line and I feel really awful. Am I the asshole? I don't know why those first 2 sentences were so necessary to put out there, that he's never raised his voice or he's never, what did she say? Lost his temper. Like, if that's your measure for your partners, we have bigger things to talk about than your boyfriend's Halloween costumes. That aside, if you don't have any concerns about whether or not he is doing anything untoward with his friend, and you've never had a conversation about whether or not you're going to do this party together, I'm not sure what you're upset about specifically. It sounds like you knew that he was going to do this thing. You've been together 8 months. Halloween is coming up, so you've been together since what, February? 8 months? 10, maybe January. Well, if you got together in January, that'd be 8 months would be August. So probably February. So you got together in February and you're upset that come like late September, early October, he's telling you about this party. It does sound like maybe communication isn't a prioritized piece of your relationship, because if it took that long to even talk about the party together, then that's probably a problem. It sounds like you knew 2 months ago that they started planning for the costume, and you were 6 months into the relationship at that point. Were you not comfortable bringing up to him, hey, I would kind of like to go with you. Like, could we do this together? The fact that he then asked you 2 months later if you wanted to see the costume almost makes it sound like you were like, oh, that's cool. Like trying to be the cool girlfriend, being on board with the plans that were already happening. The problem with playing the cool partner and not actually talking about what you're feeling is you get in situations like this. If you don't tell your partner how you're feeling about something, but expect them to guess, later on, when they didn't guess correctly, your feelings are hurt. And then your feelings are hurt and they're confused as to why they are hurt. You're upset, they're confused, a fight ensues, and everyone is in a worse spot than they were before, when you could have fended that off in the first place by just being honest. If you're in a relationship and you don't feel like your partner listens to you, and you've utilized all of your tools to help your partner listen to you, there are only a couple of options there. Either your partner is not willing to listen to you, and you have to ask yourself whether or not that's the right relationship for you, or couples therapy. Always an advocate for couples therapy. Or I guess it's always an option to stay in a relationship where your partner doesn't listen to you. What sounds better to you of those options? To me, the first two are the only realistic options. So are you an asshole? No, you're not an asshole, but you probably should have spoken up and not tried to play the cool girlfriend at the expense of the harmony of your relationship. Because the point of trying to be the cool girlfriend is to have harmony in your relationship. I mean, should he have taken you? I mean, probably. But also, if he brought it up and you're like, oh, that sounds cool, how is he supposed to know that you wanted to go? Like, I don't necessarily think that gets him off the hook in any way, but you're the one writing in and asking if you're the asshole. So I'm just answering that question. My opinion on him and his friendships and whatever is kind of neither here nor there because I don't have enough context about that. Okay, next one. I am engaged to my fiance. My fiance has a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship. His ex got pregnant on their first date due to a broken condom, and they tried to make it work for the sake of the baby. What's the title of this one? Oh, am I the asshole for not taking my fiance's kid to trick or treat and went to a Halloween party instead. Seven-year-old son from his relationship is got pregnant on their first date due to conjugal. She eventually left him when their son was 2, and I met my fiance about a year later. His ex can be very difficult, and my fiance avoids confrontation because he's terrified of losing time with his son. She constantly threatens to take him to court again and make him pay for it. That's in quotes. It took years of court battles for him to even get 50-50 custody. Anyway, his ex doesn't like me to refer to him as stepson or son, only by his first name, was with us last night. He was supposed to go trick-or-treating with his dad. I had a Halloween fundraiser party for work that I had to attend as I was the MC, so I couldn't just cancel last minute. My coworkers and I were also doing a group costume, Golden Girls. I'm tall, so I was Dorothy, so there was no way to back out. You can't not have Dorothy. I feel like the emceeing thing, and that is for work, is a much bigger reason why you can't back out of something rather than like, I'm the tall one, so I have to be Dorothy. Anyway, my fiance texted me saying he had to stay longer at work because his boss required it. I told him I couldn't take his son trick-or-treating and asked what I should do. He never replied. I then reached out to his ex explaining, I know it's not your time, but could you do us a huge favor and take him trick-or-treating? I really can't miss this work event. She said no, stating it's his time, he should figure something out, and added that she has plans with her new boyfriend and his kids, 9 and 11 years old. Next, I texted my best friend, who has 3 kids around my fiance's son's age, to see if she could help. Her kids have had playdates with him before when he was with us. She said it wouldn't be a problem, so she picked him up and I headed to the party. My fiance later picked him up from her house, and my son told him he had a great time trick-or-treating with the other kids. My friend posted a photo of the kids trick-or-treating and tagged me and my fiance. My fiance commented, thanking her and her husband for saving the day. Meanwhile, my coworkers tagged me in posts from the company event. My fiance's ex then lost it. She posted online accusing us of being selfish and caring more about work than spending time with his son, claiming that I prioritized partying and drinking over being there for him. She even stole one of my tagged photos, saying that if I cared more about partying than taking care of a child, I wasn't ready to be a stepmother or a mother. All the comments on her post sided with her, saying I should just have canceled because it was just a party. My fiance told me I did the right thing and that we should just ignore her, but was it a selfish move on my part? Okay. I actually have a lot to say on this one. Step parenting is a minefield, and there's a lot in this post. I don't know why it was essential in the beginning of the post to explain the circumstances under which the child was conceived. It doesn't actually matter. Like, I feel bad for the kid in this situation. It almost feels like he is just unwanted on all sides, and no child should ever feel that way. Every child should feel wanted across the board by every adult in their lives. I know that's not most people's reality, but that's how it should be. And this kid should feel like everyone wants them. So including that information in the beginning of the post and then trying to make it seem like you just wanted what was best for him on Halloween doesn't sound genuine. And the mom not taking her son to trick or treat with the children of her new boyfriend also seems a little bit problematic. Because I don't know the dynamics, I do agree that everyone keeps to their own time, because that's a big deal in custody. And having worked with lots of people on their custody situations, you do have to keep your custody agreement. That's an understandable thing. So her saying, no, I cannot take him on time that is not mine, whether she's a bitch or not, I can understand her saying that. Like, it's a 50-50 situation. He has to take responsibility on his time. Sure, I get that too. But clearly the girlfriend thinks that there should have been like wiggle room because of her going with the boyfriend and his kid. The solution that they came up with makes a lot of sense. People had to do work things. That had to happen. Okay, fine. The kid had fun. Everybody was fine. The fallout afterwards doesn't make a ton of sense, because if you are going to stick to the custody agreement and the child was safe and everybody was fine, it doesn't really work then to say, no, I'm not going to violate the custody agreement and take him when it's not my time, but also I'm going to make decisions and opinions and all of that about something that happened when it wasn't my time that has nothing to do with my kid being safe or cared for. It's one thing to be like, my kid was not safe or cared for or healthy or happy when they weren't with me. That's one thing. But to have a problem with the way that they are cared for as long as they are safe and healthy and happy and cared for. When they're not with you is a completely other situation. And when you're stuck in that step parenting sort of in between role, that is a minefield. And this is something that comes up a lot in queer relationships. I know this is not one of them, but this comes up a lot in queer relationships because often you will have someone who sort of steps into the role of step parenting because a couple will get together and someone has children from another relationship. And you sort of come into this ready-made family with a different dynamic than you would coming in as a straight relationship after a divorce, right? Because you've got that cultural dynamic of being a queer relationship after the person's breaking up with a straight partner. The pressure of being a step parent and like how much permission do you get to make decisions for the child versus how much you need to step back and just sort of let the parents do things, and where's your official responsibility versus how much actual responsibility does get put on you. Like there's a lot of dynamics there that aren't well informed for the person who's stepping into that role. So that can be a really difficult place to be. So because of that, I would say probably not the asshole, because it does sound like the decisions that you made about that day were sort of doing your best. But I question how you actually feel about the kid because of what you wrote in the beginning of the letter. I don't know why that was super necessary, except just to throw shade at the mom. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other.